Welcome back. It's Deja Vu all over again. It's Jim Lowenstern. This is my radio show at 1510 a.m. We're in Boston. Also streaming on revolutionboston.com, and you can listen to old shows, jimlowenstern.com. And not only do I have a lot of guests in the studio, I even have a guest who's coming to us on the phone. This is going to actually be a pre-recorded show, so feel free to ask questions. Just send them through the website, jimlowenstern.com, and just wait a week, and I'll get back to you on the air. So today I've got Rick Masnick from eMortgage Management. That's emnloans.com. I've got Matt Fasman. Is that ever pronounced right? Okay. Powerinbox.com. I got Ed Longley in Manhattan. He's with the Hollingsworth Group, thgnewyork.com. And also in the studio with us is Jim Closter with Amberjack Solar Energy. And I'm going to be talking about all sorts of neat stuff today. Mortgages, solar energy, new internet technology, and we'll start with Rick again with this segment for a few minutes. We were talking about in last week's show, Rick, we had Harold Brown, probably the number one property owner in Boston, on. That was an interesting conversation. Would you agree?
I enjoyed listening to the whole thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I think I missed maybe a part of what should have been on the show. I left the room for a moment, and I came back. Everyone was laughing. Anything worth bringing up on the air? Anything that came up?
Since I'm in the mortgage business, I think I'd have to have prior authorization to release that information.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so we'll keep that confidential. But as far as that conversation, and we were talking about business cycles and real estate cycles, and I guess even cycles in the mortgage business, and how we had liar loans and subprime loans in the last cycle, and just about everything has flipped 180 degrees. But there's light on the horizon, I guess. Wouldn't you say that things appear to be coming back more to the middle, not a total shift to the left or the right extreme?
Yeah, I agree. Some of the economic data that's coming out right now is showing that the economy's picking up. The employment numbers are looking better. One of the things that Mr. Brown and I were talking about on his way out the door was the fact that nowadays, a lot of people don't know this, but during the downfall of the mortgage industry, loan officers and mortgage originators weren't required to be licensed, and now they are, so it weeds out a lot of the bad apples.
So what are the differences there when someone's getting licensed? You're saying 5 years ago, or when did licensing come into practice? I always assumed everyone that was originating a loan was licensed.
That was probably about 4 years ago that the process started. There's a system called the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System, or NMLS. You can actually go on, and I'm not sure of the total website, but if you Google NMLS consumer, you can actually plug someone's name in and get their license information and make sure you're working with a licensed rep. They started off by going and getting the brokers and the non-bank lenders licensed, and the process had just started. They started on our coast, started working their way across the country, and after a year went by, about a third of the loan officers were licensed, so they started back again at the coast for the renewals, and little by little they made their way back across the country until everyone got licensed. Now they're starting to get everybody in the banking industries to get registered at the minimum.
So there's no loan originators even working at, let's say, a bank branch that might be not without a license anywhere? Or
someone at a bank should at least be registered and have what they call an MLO, a mortgage loan originator license number, and it's required in all advertising that they do as well.
And this is a national process, or is it state to state?
Both. There's a federal component and a state component.
So that's going to make a big difference, you feel, as far as no more mortgages pushed through to people that shouldn't be getting the loan?
Yeah, you actually have to do continuing education, much like yourself. Realtors have to do it. Loan officers have to get licensed through continuing education and pay for an exam in the whole 9 yards.
Yes, I actually run a real estate pre-licensing school, and we do continuing ed, and yeah, it went up in Massachusetts. It went up from 24 hours, which was kind of on the low side anyway. We actually were putting our students through 26 hours, but now it's 40 hours. And I'm licensed in Florida. Once upon a time, I think it was only 40 hours in Florida. Now it's almost 78, 80 hours. So a little I guess a barrier to entry, as you would say.
A necessary barrier.
Yeah. So, Ed Longley, with the Hollingsworth Group. Hi. Want to get you involved in the conversation. And you're selling real estate in Manhattan, which is like it might as well be another planet from New England. What do you think the big differences are in buying in New York City versus other parts of the country?
Well, just from talking to people around the country, I mean, the price obviously is the number one thing, and people always know that when you come to New York, you're going to pay more. But, you know, a lot of times they think maybe it's going to be 20% more than Chicago or 15% more than Boston or even double the price of a certain area, and they don't realize, you know, it could be 3, 4, 5, even 10 times the price of, you know, where they're coming from. So have
you checked the prices in Boston lately?
Yeah, they're expensive, you know, relative to the rest of the United States. So I'd say anywhere along the eastern seaboard, you know, the major cities, Washington, Boston, Philadelphia, probably Washington and Boston more. They're only a notch or two below Manhattan. It's, you know, great real estate up there, let's put it that way.
But you still have probably pockets in Manhattan that are still considered, I don't know, value, maybe. I know Harlem started being gentrified probably 10, 15 years ago. Am I right on that timeline?
Yeah, I mean, Harlem, you know, there really aren't the bargains they used to have in Harlem. In fact, there's an area now, they're calling it Soha, you know, to take, you know, off of Soho and NoHo and those kinds of areas. And so they call it Soha, which means South Harlem. That's between 110th and 125th Street. And I was doing showings up there just last week. The prices were a little less than $1,000 a foot. The nicer stuff was, you know, $1,000 a foot, and the cheaper things were more like $600 or $700 or $800 a foot.
$1,000 a foot. So 1,000 square foot apartment in Harlem is $1 million.
Yes, if it's renovated, really nice. Maybe it has a view, something like that. If it's not, you might be able to get one up there for, say, $600,000 or $500,000 at the best. And the stuff my client's looking at, you know, she wants something renovated. She wants maybe a townhouse, and they were renovated probably 1.7 or 1.8 for, you know, 2,000 square feet, so close to 1,000 foot, maybe 900, 800.
So let's see. We have some thoughts here for you. So New York obviously has its own unique market. Do you have problems that, you know, different parts of the country has? Foreclosures, for example, short sales?
You know, the market's a little bit different here, you know, and I talk to brokers from all around the country, and I talk to investors from all over the world, and we don't get a lot of foreclosures here. I think because New York City is so strict on their guidelines for buying, you know, you have to be very wealthy per dollar spent, I would say. So if you buy $1 million place in Chicago or anywhere, or Boston or something like that, I don't think it's quite as strict, you know. So you literally have to make more money for that $1 million apartment in Manhattan, and because of that, nobody foreclosed really. You know, we only have, and I've had a couple of foreclosure properties just because I have a little bit of a niche in that market, very slight niche. But literally, I'm just guessing, but I would say maybe there's 75 total foreclosures in all of Manhattan, and I'm sort of overestimating, I think.
So 75 out of a housing stock of tens of thousands of units.
Yes, I mean
more.
there's a few buildings that just didn't sell very well and had problems, but we just don't get many foreclosures because the people are wealthy enough to, hold on to them if they lose their job. And we didn't get a lot of subprimes here either. I mean, we have a lot of 30-year fixed mortgages, and the requirements usually are a minimum of 20%, sometimes 30 or 40 or 50% down. So there's a lot more equity. There's nothing with not very few apartments with no money down. So we're really lucky in that in that matter, and not having the same problems that they have out in Florida and out in California and all Vegas and all the other places.
So you live in both Manhattan and on the shore in Jersey, if I recall. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have a license in both states?
No, I don't sell actually in New Jersey. I just I like the beach.
Okay, all right. Because I would imagine there are a lot of brokers that probably hold licenses for Jersey and Manhattan. It's probably a common thing.
Some people do, but actually what's probably more common is New York brokers many times sell the Hamptons. So they go out to the Hamptons in the summer, and then in the winter and the spring and things like that, they're in New York City. I actually don't know too many brokers down here, although we have really nice real estate in this area because, any beachfront property, whether it's up in Massachusetts or California or here, is expensive. But there are brokers who do different areas. There's people who go to get licensed in Virginia, and they go to Virginia Beach. And there actually some of the companies in Manhattan actually are licensed in Cape Cod. I believe Corcoran and maybe Element. I think it's Corcoran. That's one of the biggest in Manhattan. They have a brokerage office. I think it's in Hyannis, Cape Cod.
Okay. So when you're down in the summer, you have a call, someone wants to see one of your listings in Manhattan, you gotta fly up to Manhattan, right?
Yeah, well, we have a ferry that takes about 40 minutes to Manhattan, and I have an office that sits 10 minutes from the ferry. I kind of arranged it that way.
I meant figuratively, not literally fly up, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, it takes me door to door, probably an hour, but, I keep a laptop with me at all times, and my BlackBerry, my iPhone now. I just got an iPhone. And
you were the last BlackBerry owner, by the way.
Probably. Okay.
So, I also want to give you a little plug. It's the Hollingsworth Group, thgnewyork.com. You're pretty newly established. Would you consider yourself a boutique brokerage?
Yes, I'm a small boutique brokerage firm. We've been around for about a year. I've been in the business for about 7 years, working for mid and larger size, more typical firms, and I went out on my own about a year ago.
Okay, well, stock up on some great, juicy Manhattan gossip for us, and we'll have you on the show. We'll have you on again.
Okay, great.
Soon. And thanks for calling, Ed Longley. thgnewyork.com, the Hollingsworth Group. And we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back. We have lots of guests here today. And this is the Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. 1510 a.m. Boston.
You look and you look through neighborhood after neighborhood. You go up and down streets, into cul-de-sacs, and around every bend. Then one day you slowly pull up and finally see it. Your house. At Wells Fargo, we're with you when you're ready to find the house. In fact, we're with you in every stage of home ownership, from planning to purchasing to well after you own your home. Our free preferred payment plan service is a great example. You can automatically tie your payment schedule to your paydays. It's convenient and completely free. The program may even help you pay off your mortgage faster. Let us help you find the mortgage that fits your needs. Talk with a Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant today. We're ready to help and answer all your mortgage questions. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Home Mortgage is a division of Wells Fargo Bank N.A., equal housing lender.
For more information, please contact your local Wells Fargo home mortgage consultant, Jason Bonarigo, at 617-363-4617.
You're back with Jim Lowenstern and all his guests. Welcome back. It's Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show. And next guest, who I'm going to be speaking with, is Matt. Pardon me, Matt. I did not get your business card. It's Thasman? Thasman. PowerInbox.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Matt, tell our listeners what PowerInbox.com does, basically.
So Power Inbox, our goal is to create the future of email. So we think email is really important. We're just really frustrated that email hasn't changed in a really long time. Email is actually 40 years old now. The first email was sent in Cambridge, actually, at MIT. And really hasn't changed since then. It was based on the snail mail model. I think the last major change was in the 90s with the introduction of MIME. And kind of the thesis we had was the world is now more real-time. The world is more social. The world is more collaborative. And email needs to catch up. So at a fundamental level, we're making email better. The first step is making email interactive. So we've built out Power Inbox. It's a platform that lets anybody send interactive emails to existing email systems. So you can send an email with a video in it, and it'll play right inside Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, or Outlook.
Okay, so let me understand. And I get an email, and Power Inbox, this has to be on my computer. It has to be, it's like an application. I already downloaded like an app on my iPhone.
Yeah, like Flash. Like you have Flash installed, and you can watch video on YouTube. You have Power Inbox installed. You can get interactive emails now in Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, and Outlook.
Okay, so it's not all email, it's only certain email.
The ones we support right now.
Okay, so Hotmail is one of them?
Yes.
Okay. So I go to my Hotmail, I'm online in Hotmail, someone sent me an email, and they have to have Power Inbox to send something to me that is going to open up, it opens up automatically, basically.
It opens up automatically, yes.
But only I need the application?
Exactly. So if you don't have it, you'll see the static email is what we call it, the what email looks like today.
Yeah.
If you have Power Inbox, you'll see the interactive version of the same email. So an example is if they send you a video, it'll just be a picture normally, and you click the picture and it takes you out to YouTube. With the interactive one, you can watch the video right inside the email.
Okay. So, all right, I'm just trying to vision. So in an email, I can either have like a PDF or there's a link. If it's a link that's a hot link to YouTube, for example, you don't have to click on it. They send the link, and it just automatically opens up as soon as I see it's an email from my friend, so I open it up, and it immediately starts playing.
Yes, yeah. If they wanted it to be immediately start playing, or otherwise you can hit the play button and it'll play right there. Okay,
so it's like bringing the other website into the email.
Exactly.
So does it show up as a separate box underneath the written copy, or
no, right inside the email. So if they have a picture, so you see these marketing emails, they have like a picture of a video, and you click the picture, it takes you out somewhere.
Sort of like a thumbnail with a little triangle on it.
Exactly. And instead of the thumbnail, it's the actual video right there.
So it'll actually play right there.
Right there.
So it doesn't pop up the whole thing. It just plays a little video right into the email.
Exactly. And that's just one example. You could actually have shopping. You could have search. You could have people renting movies. So imagine Netflix. You get an email from Netflix saying, we sent a DVD out. You could reorder your Netflix queue right inside the email because you're like, hey, I don't want that next item. I've already seen it.
So you don't have to log into Netflix necessarily.
Exactly.
Interesting. So I tried downloading it yesterday, and my Hotmail wasn't liking it too much, let's just say. When I hit reply, and I really wasn't expecting to be opening up, videos and stuff like that. It was just like I downloaded it, I wanted to reply to someone, and it just wouldn't really refresh. So I thought, well, the only thing I've done differently is this application, so let me get rid of it and see if that fixes the problem. So something quirky like that. Is there I don't know, patches or something? I have Windows 7. It's a new Dell laptop.
Okay. Yeah, no, we constantly do patches and fixes, so we'll take a look at that issue.
Okay. So how long has this program been available?
It's been available since August.
Okay.
So we launched in August. And it's kind of interesting. Originally, we were focused on the productivity angle. So we were actually making like Facebook emails interactive and Twitter emails interactive. But as soon as we launched, what actually happened was we had a number of companies contact us and say, how do we make our emails interactive? So we had actually a real estate firm contact us. We had a loan processor contact us. We had a bunch of different other companies say, we want to make our emails better. How do we do so? And so then we actually shifted the focus a little bit to make a toolkit to let anybody make interactive emails. And that's kind of what we launched the beginning of February.
So a lot of realtors are listening to the show. How would it help them?
So, simple example, you want to send out listings to your customers. Right now, I've got these emails from realtors. It's this really long email with page after page after page after listing. Instead, you could just send them one of them, and they can actually scroll through right there. They can toggle through. If they don't like it, they could search right inside the email and find the one they want. They could schedule an appointment. Like, say they want to schedule a showing, all right inside the I've done. I had properties in Florida, so I've done things with real estate before, and it's a lot of email back and forth between me and the realtor, between me and the inspector, between me and the loan processor. At every stage, instead of having to go out somewhere, you can actually have the action happen right inside the email.
Okay, so that's how it'll help the buyers and sellers. Also, just fewer emails back and forth. It can all sort of. Well, the communication can be done within one email in a way?
Yeah. And if you think about it, email right now is basically death by 1,000 paper cuts or 1,000 click outs, right? Every single email wants you to click out, and there's this tension in your inbox. I'm in my inbox. I want to go through my email. Every email wants to pull me out of that inbox and go somewhere else, and it's this tug of war. We get rid of that.
So, in a way, and I'm just trying to find an analogy so the listener, well, even myself, understand better. It's almost as if a difference between email and texting, where you go to your phone and an individual's stream with dates and everything from texting. It's all in one location pretty much automatically. Is that right? So within an email, you can just scroll down and you can see the chain of conversation without clicking in, clicking out. It's all there.
Yes, if the sender wanted that way.
So I guess how hard is it going to be to use Power Inbox for real estate agents or the buyers or sellers, let's say?
Not hard at all, because and that's kind of the key thing. It works right inside your existing email system, so you don't have to learn anything new. You don't have to learn a new system. You open up the email, and it's the interactive version. And so if you have a video there, you can just watch the video right inside. So we've really designed it to be such a way that everybody doesn't have to learn anything new. They just continue to use email, and email is something everyone's familiar with. And you don't have to switch to a new email system. Just keep using your existing one.
Does this application work on smartphones too? And
not yet. We're focused on the desktop right now.
Okay. Is that because the smartphone really doesn't need it because it has texting already and people communicate similarly? I guess with texting on the phones.
No, we actually think the mobile is very important. Because, again, actually mobile's really important because a lot of email usage is switching to mobile. But email on mobile is, I mean, to me at least, 10 times worse than email on the desktop. You've got small screens. You've got to type with your fingers. It's really hard to do email on mobile. And so it's well suited there where if you were to get an email that's interactive on your mobile, you can actually do a lot more right there. So it's definitely on the list. It's definitely on the plan. We're just focused on the desktop because It's just a matter of focusing on the one thing.
So anything else you see in the future for Power Inbox?
So the big one is we've launched this toolkit that lets anybody create interactive emails, and that's what we're really focused on right now, introducing that to people. Some people don't even believe it. I mean, email's been something you've used to and static for so long. When we show them the product, I mean, people just don't know what's happening or what's going on. So there is a education process there of like things are changing. So simple example, if you send a email right now through an ESP, it's a picture of the video, and that's all you know. Now with interactive email with Power Inbox, you can actually track what video did they watch in your email, how long did they watch it for, at what point did they stop watching it, did they make it through the end. It's kind of a whole new dynamic, and that's really the key thing is education, introducing, making people familiar with this new way of email.
So, Jim, you have product to sell, and Rick, you have customers out there, and you both probably communicating through email all the time. Do you see any use for Matt's product in your marketing, or do you have questions for?
I was talking with Matt before. I think that certainly something interesting, and there's so many different. Everything's digital now, and to be able to kind of a new avenue to get in front of the customer, to have them do a little more research or education on me specifically for solar. I actually told Matt that I was going to put him in touch with our advertising agency to, see how they can integrate it and see, if there's legs to it.
What about you, Rick? Any thoughts on this?
As far as the mortgage process is concerned, I don't see any use for us as far as videos are concerned, but I can see where my partners in real estate would really get a hold of this and use it to their benefit.
Well, are you using e-document signing, anything
Yes.
like that? Yes?
Yeah, but there's nothing moving there. It's all just, clear. Well, I guess
That would actually all happen right inside the email. And actually, we actually had some loan processors contact us because they wanted to move the whole application process right into the email.
Okay. I don't usually see what the customers see, so I'd have to see what they're seeing to see if that's different from what you're talking about.
What they would see is, how right now it would be on the website. You'd go and you'd log in and you'd do the e-sign. That whole process would be happening right inside the email.
Sounds like you've already worked with exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's interesting. I'm not really 100% sure I've really grasped how it's going to work yet. I've spent some time on the website, and I guess I'll try to get it loaded in again. I'll give you a call, Matt, and see if you can help me get the bug out of there.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Okay. All right, we're going to have a short break before we come back to our last segment. This is Jim Lowenstern. You listen to my radio show at 1510 a.m., revolutionboston.com. It's Jim Lowenstern Radio Show, jimlowenstern.com. Hang in there. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Castles Magazine, an in-print and online magazine and database of exceptional properties, is available to you 24/7 at castlesmag.com. Considered by Google to be the online authority of luxury real estate, castlesmag.com is the best way to search for properties anywhere in the world when you are looking for your dream home, and the best realtors to help you with your search. Castles Magazine and castlesmag.com. One in print and one online, and always at your service. Not just opening doors, opening the doors that you dream of.
How you doing out there? It's Jim Lowenstern. We're back. Lots of guests in the studio today. And we were talking about new software available for, if you're in business and you're marketing to clients, a new way to reach them a little more directly. And that product is called Power Inbox. And I've got Matt, who's here to talk about the product. And you were just telling me about the statistics of, before I even ask you the statistics. So basically, I see it now, you get an email and you're actually on the website, basically. You don't have to click out of it. You don't have to click to it. The website actually opens up right there in the email. It's right in front of you, and it's happening, right? If you got an email and someone was doing something on Facebook, comments or tweets on Twitter, it's all happening in live action right in the email?
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. So if somebody, if you had to compare to marketing, in my case, let's say a house, and I sent them a link or a little thumbnail that would go to a link that's the listing maybe on a website that I have right now, what's the difference? How do I get more business with Power Inbox?
Yeah, so what we really impact is the click-through rate. So the standard email funnel today, let's say 1,000 people open their inbox, only 190 people actually will probably open your email, just statistically. And out of those 190 people, only 8 people will probably only click the link in your email to get to the website. And then out of those 8 people, only 3 people will actually do the action you want them to do, whether it's schedule a open house or do whatever you want them to do. And that's just the funnel today. And we set out and said, well, what if you could take, and the weakest point of that funnel is the 4% click of the email itself. Out of everything else, that's the lowest point. And what we enable is basically by bringing the website into the email, you effectively had 100% CTR, 100% click-through rate, because there is no more click. So instead of 190 people open your email, now instead of 8 people getting to your website, 190 people get to your website.
So, yeah, but they have to click on that email, of course. So will it, in the future, Matt, do you see a time when people are just not going to click on their email because they don't want to go to the websites? Are we going to be conditioned that way? It's going to be almost like spam, and where people are going to run away from email? I hope not.
I don't think so, because you're in the context of your email inbox, and that's very important. It's a psychological thing. As long as I'm still inside Hotmail, I feel like I'm still in email, and I'm in a different mindset. And so as long as the action also is something quick, right? If it's like one-click buy, we see that going crazy. So people just going in, you see something you want, and just buy one click. You don't have to enter everything because it's already saved. That's the key thing. So if you just take your existing website and put an email, it might work initially, but you really need to build an experience that makes sense inside email.
So I already got some thoughts about how I can use this to maybe increase my SEO, search engine optimization for some of my websites. If I'm doing emails through Constant Contact or something like that, and I think you mentioned that you're working with Constant Contact to incorporate this because they do emails. It's the same thing. So I guess what I'm really asking is, okay, so let's say I do an email through Constant Contact. I use your program, your application. I guess it would be through them. But does that increase the SEO, the customer, the client, or in this case maybe I'm advertising to a broker out there? When they click on their email, does that actually give me more visitors coming to the site? Does it count towards the SEO?
Exactly. So your page clicks increase, your analytics are the same, everything you do on the website is just happening one step earlier, but the key part, it's the worst step. The click-through rate is the worst conversion step. So it's the exact same analytics and tools using your website now work inside email.
So we're really getting the advantages of the click-through without even asking them to click through. They've already clicked through, they just didn't know it.
Exactly. The email is now the click-through in a sense.
It's kind of sneaky. I like it. All right. Thank you, Matt. Jim, Amberjack Solar Energy. What's going on with solar these days? You sell just a commercial, or you do residential also?
No, we're a commercial only. What's called an EPC, which is engineer, procure, and construct. So we started out. We became one of New Jersey's largest installers based on the incentives. I've opened up offices in Holyoke, Massachusetts, to try to, help with the development of solar here in Mass.
So let's talk about solar in Mass. Many years ago, in another lifetime, I sold passive solar hot water heaters. The name of the company, I think, was Solar Heart from maybe Australia.
Okay.
And I was in Florida at the time, so it made sense. You'd heat your pool, you'd heat your domestic hot water. There were tax rebates with the product totally financed. We were putting these things on people's roofs with zero down, and they literally saved on their hot water bill to the point where they probably didn't pay anything. Their pools were heated in the winter, and for the first time they were able to use them. No additional charge. And what else? They got a tax rebate. They literally were paid to put this ugly thing on their roof.
Yeah, that's really what it's an incentive. It's one of the great side effects of putting solar on a commercial business is that you're actually going green. And what I mean by that is it's really a business decision. It's an investment. It's a tax vehicle. Right now, there's federal incentives that obviously every state can take part in, but it's the state incentives that make the investment just phenomenal. New Jersey, the reason why Massachusetts and New Jersey are such hot markets is because of their state incentives. Massachusetts came out with a model similar to New Jersey's, but has actually improved upon it, where we have here in Massachusetts what's considered a floor for the SREC price, which is the state incentive. Ultimately, somebody can put a system on their roof, regardless of the size, and have zero cash outlay. So over the course of the system, it's guaranteed for 25 years based on manufacturer warranties. So, for example, the panels we use, they'll still be producing 80% of the efficiency that they produce day one, guaranteed 25 years from now. But that system will be paid off within 5 years, plus or minus. So you'll based on the way the financing works, you're not taking any cash out. The money you have coming in, based off of the state incentives and the tax incentives, you're cash flow positive day one, and then you have an annuity for the next 25 years.
So I heard that property taxes would freeze. Is that just with residential? Is it with commercial also, or is it with neither? Was I just
I don't know. The property tax. The property tax is dependent upon individual municipalities of how they're assessing it. It's something where when we look at a project with our history and kind of how we know how to build the mousetrap, if you will. We approach the municipality before the project, gets going, and we try to work with the municipality to try to figure out the best way to value and approach the solar arrays.
So you're putting these mostly on, would you say, office buildings, flat roofs, or can this? When you're talking about commercial, I think commercial it could be 100 residential units that are going up too. Would that be a project you would be interested in? Yeah,
it's a project we're interested in. There's logistical design kind of issues when you get into something like that, because it's ultimately going to come back to the meter. So if you have, let's just say, a 200 unit, residential, is there 200 separate meters with 200 separate utility bills? That becomes a little cumbersome. It works great for a warehouse, a big roof space. If it's an office building, it's nice for the owner of the building because most office leases are gross leases, so the landlord's already paying for the electric themselves. So this gives them a way to defer that cost or get rid of that cost. I've actually put solar on entities' buildings that are landlords, and they use it as a marketing tool. They can go out there and if there's 3 buildings that are vacant on the same street, one guy has solar and can say first 6 months free, as an example. First 6 months free electricity. It's a separation tool. So there's a lot of different applications. ultimately, that's where our strong suit is. It comes down to design. We have what's called NABCEP certified design team. Our lead designer is actually the first woman NABCEP designer in Massachusetts. So it really comes down. You have to have, in my opinion, and I know I'm biased, but a sophisticated company like Amberjack that can kind of get you through all those nuances.
So I'm sure people are going to say, okay, so I've got my roof, and it's an expensive rubber roof, and all that. You're saying it doesn't void the warranty.
Nope.
And that it doesn't penetrate the roof. So if I'm thinking it doesn't penetrate it, how is it being secured?
So for the let's take the assumption of a flat roof. We'll guarantee that we're not going to void any of the roof warranties. And what we'll do is we'll take someone from whoever they have a roof warranty with. We'll bring them out to the site. We'll show them the scope of the project. Make sure that they are comfortable with what we're doing. We'll do the project and then bring them back and get from them in writing that the roof warranty is still intact. To the second question of how you do it, it's a ballasted system. So essentially it's strategically weighted ballasted. There's a couple minimal points of contact with the roof with a lot of times an EPDM, which is the rubber material of the roof, slip sheets underneath, and they're wind rated up to, I believe, 130 miles per hour.
You actually have to penetrate the roof at some point to anchor it. But
no, it'll be weighted blocks. Figure fancy cinder blocks.
Oh, okay.
And then what part of the process is we'll bring a structural, on our dime obviously, is bring a structural engineer in to take the calculations of the added weight of the ballasted system and and look at the snow load and the actual structure that we're putting it on and make sure that it passes that.
So let me get wicked political, which is something I never do. Okay, so President Obama, when he was running for office, if I recall, he wanted to turn this industry into sort of like the shining light for the whole planet. Sort of like, let's turn America green and let's get this industry being like world class and all that. Has any of this come about? Because all I hear about in the news, you just hear the horror stories. The Massachusetts legislature gave somebody out in, I don't know, where Devon was or is,
right,
whatever it is now, like, I don't know, $100 million, and they ran through it in 2 years, and they go, "Oops, sorry, we're out of business."
It's the news is funny that way. When you see it on the news, it seems that everything, no matter what the topic is all bad. But no, actually, I could give you a perfect example.
Well, I'm just wondering about Amberjack.
Yeah.
You make your own panels, or do they come from Taiwan, or
no? I mean, it's an incredibly competitive manufacturing market. Panels are made all throughout the world. We're particular right now. We use LG panels, like which is a Korean company, as you know, the TVs, the refrigerators, etc. No, it's actually solar in the United States is probably, and I don't want to be held to it, but the fastest job growth industry. Again, Massachusetts has a better incentive program now than New Jersey has, but the incentive program in New Jersey was so strong that in the last 5 years, there were less than 25 installs in the state. Now there's 13,500.
Wow.
So that shows how strong of a financial impact it makes.
On the old buildings and the new ones, they're all going green, I guess, when they're doing their projections and their licensing.
I was having a conversation with Matt before. He asked, why wouldn't somebody do this? And that's really the question I get asked the most. When somebody looks at the financial model, they say, well, why wouldn't I?
It's ugly.
well,
that's part of it.
Well, I think it's really because you look at it, it's a too good to be true syndrome. People get a little worried when they look at a financial model that shows no cash outlay and then shows that kind of numbered return on investment.
On a commercial building, it's probably different.
Correct.
But,
correct.
You put one of those panels on, and it depends. If the south side of the house is the back side, so you really don't change the curb appeal. I'm just talking from a residential point of view. But to put one of those in the front of the house, it changes the whole, street appearance. On a commercial building, if it's a flat roof, you can set it back from the front, so it's less impact, or build up a faux wall covering that area.
A lot of buildings have the parapet wall, so it kind of hides it in a sense. And a lot of commercial buildings are so high up that you're really not going to see it. Agree with you on the residential front. I've seen panels on the front of someone's house, and it is a little.
It's hideous. Yeah. So that's the reason why it's probably not going to catch on quite as much for residential. But no, it's good to know that that we're going in that direction, because we can't just keep burning oil and building nuclear plants forever. And hopefully the sun will be there for a while.
I hope so.
Any predictions on
I have
how many
I
years?
had one person ask me that the one time. I said, look, you have bigger problems if the sun goes away than what's happening with your solar production.
That would be just one of the little... not having electricity will be just a small problem. Okay, we're going to take one final break. It's a short one, and then we're going to come right back. We're having a great show today. It's the Jim Lowenstern Radio Talk Show, 1510 a.m. Boston. Check us out at jimlowenstern.com, and I want to make sure that you like us on Facebook, too. Be right back.
When you are looking to buy or sell real estate and you are looking for the right realtor to do business with, NewEnglandProsperity.org is a nationwide network of carefully selected brokers who are willing to give both you and your favorite charity a large portion of their commission. These brokers are only too happy to donate to a charity and to credit you back money to help with things such as your mortgage closing costs, title insurance, moving expenses, and more. When you're starting to look for a realtor first, go to NewEnglandProsperity.org and sign up. You'll be referred to a broker who will have your interests first and who will also credit you and donate to charity. Look them up at NewEnglandProsperity.org, and when you sign up on their website, you can expect a top broker to return to you with the call to begin discussing the next steps in your selling or buying process. NewEnglandProsperity.org brokers make it easy to buy and sell real estate, and they make it easy for you to pay for your closing costs because they pitch in with a piece of their commission and they make charitable contributions. For all of the information, just go to NewEnglandProsperity.org. We are changing the way America buys and sells real estate.
Hi, you're back. You're back with Jim Lowenstern and Matt Tasman and Jim Cluster and Rick Masnick. Jim is with Amberjack. Rick is with E Mortgage Management. And Matt is with Power Inbox. And we were just trying to figure out how we were going to get all of our... And I should also mention I'm Jim Lowenstern with Castles Unlimited, among other things. And this is my radio show. So we're going to get all of our thoughts together in an email in Matt's Power Inbox. And then it's going to be powered by Amberjack Solar Energy. And I'm going to sell the house that it's going to be in, but Rick's going to finance it. Does that all work for you guys?
I think you covered it.
That works great.
Okay. So we're just finishing up with Jim. It's to get in touch with him, it's jcluster at amberjacksolar.com, JKLOSTER at amberjacksolar.com. I'll put the stuff on the website also, so it's a little easier. And as far as any other thoughts that you have about solar, they're going to be around for a while?
Oh, yeah, the tenants are around for a while. I mean, as I said, that floor that Massachusetts has, gives you, and it's not even, you'll have several years till you get to that, and then at that point, when you have to exercise that, it gives you a guaranteed 10 years. So, solar's not going anywhere. It's going it's going in the right direction.
And the price of the panels keep coming down, I would imagine.
The price of the panels, it's a very competitive market. Solar is, as I said, it's everywhere. So with that supply and demand, the manufacturing processes have been, and competitive nature has brought systems down to, if you looked at it a year ago, I implore you to look at it again because it's substantially different pricing.
So a couple of questions. So the price versus, I don't know if you know, let's say, how does it go? By square inch, square foot?
It goes by watt. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking of the actual panel, but okay. Well, let's talk wattage. Has it gone up as far as efficiency in the last year, 2 years?
The main technology is PV technology. It's been around for over 50 years, so a lot of those big groundbreaking kind of things have happened. It goes up minimally again with the amount of competitive, the competitive nature of the market right now. There is improvements in efficiency. But you're not going to see, I'm going to wait a couple months because it's going to be a big difference. That's not where it's going.
Okay, and the weight, it's not going down. It's pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not going to be just you paint it on the side of your house and stick a couple wires in it.
No, there's been a lot of different technologies, kind of touching upon what you touched before with stuff you've seen in the news of these other technologies. They're good ideas, but ultimately it all comes back to PV, and that's being the most cost-effective.
Okay. So, Rick, we're going to give you one last plug. It's emmloans.com.
Right.
And your email would be?
rmasnyk, RMASNYK, at emmloans.com.
Okay. And you have good rates?
Very good. Very competitive.
Okay. And Matt Tasman with Power Inbox. If we write you, I'm afraid we're going to get something back that opens up in our email. But if someone out there wants to get Power Inbox, what do you suggest?
Yeah, they can actually go get it right now at powerinbox.com. And if you're interested in sending out and making your emails better that you send out, shoot me an email. It's matt@powerinbox.com.
Okay. I also want to thank Ed Longley from thgnewyork.com. That's the Hollingsworth Group in Manhattan. Ed's a real estate broker there who was on our show earlier. And we're going to take off for this week. This is a great show. You can listen to us next Sunday. Same time, same bat channel, 1510 a.m. Boston. It's revolutionboston.com if you want to listen to it streaming. And old shows or comments, questions you want to send to future guests or to me, or if you want to look for real estate, it's all there. It's jimlowenstern.com. And until next time, may you all find your dreams right at home. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.